Hey everybody, welcome back to the Code Library. In today's video, we are going to be going over how to achieve aspect ratio using CSS only. This is a really neat tool when it comes to image manipulation, and it's really awesome for like blog thumbnails to where you don't have to go in and manually edit the sizing of your thumbnails in like an image editing program. CSS will automatically do it for you, and you can change your layouts dependent on desktop versus mobile. So without further ado, we are going to jump over the computer and I'm going to show you how to do this very quickly. Okay, so I just want to start off with this mock-up that I have in Adobe XD to show you kind of where we're starting and what we're trying to achieve visually before we get into the code. So I have these 4 little random pictures of puppies, and if you notice, they're all different ratios and sizes, and what we want to achieve is to streamline all of these without having to manually edit them every single time, like I said, in some sort of like image editing program. So we have this ratio right here, which is 3:2, and then we have 2:3, and then we have 1:1, which is just like a square. And we want it to work exactly how it's working in XD right here, which is essentially putting a mask over our image to where it's just centering the image each time for us. So it's not actually cropping it, we're just only seeing this certain ratio. So like if I were to double click this, you notice that there is a square right here, and that is 3:2. And same thing with like 1:1 down here. I can move it around, but it's centering to where we're only seeing this portion of it. So we're gonna hop over to brackets. You can use whatever code editor you want, Squarespace, WordPress, it will all work the same. I have my standard just HTML document right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and save this as an HTML document. Okay, so I'm just gonna say custom aspect ratio.html. And then I'm gonna link it to custom aspect ratio.css, which we haven't made this page yet, but we're about to, so it knows what CSS file to grab our styling from. So I'm just gonna copy this, and then I'm going to create a new document, and I'll save it as this. Okay, so now I have .css and save it. And now you can see we have both files. So we're going to start off in the HTML file, and we're going to start with the structure. And what we need is we need an image wrapper, and we need our image mask. And we're going to need this for every single image. Then within the mask, we'll have the actual image. And I'm just going to grab this image right here, and I'm just going to paste the URL in here. And notice I'm not specifying width or height or anything. It's just going to grab the full image itself. Okay, so I'm going to save this. I'm going to open it just to see what it looks like. Okay, so we just have our image, nothing much going on. We're going to hop over to our CSS, and this is where we're going to start getting into the styling of setting up our mask. So the first thing we have to do is we have to have the image wrapper be 100%. And this is just to show it to fill the width of whatever it is necessary that it can fill. Then we're going to have our image mask, and we're going to set our variable aspect ratio. We'll start with 3:2. And then we need to make this position relative. And then the trick here is padding bottom. We're going to calculate 100% divided by our variable of aspect ratio. Then the second part of this is grabbing the image tag directly within our mask. So we have image mask, and we want to grab this specific image. And we're going to make this absolute. We're going to say top 0, left 0. It was width 100%, height 100%, because we want it to fill the actual mask itself. And then we're going to say object fit, and it's going to cover it. This will help it not stretch, and it'll help it adjust to whatever aspect ratio we've set. Okay, so let's see if this worked. Oh, let's make it 50% just so you can see it. Okay. And like I said, that object, the image wrapper, is just how much of the actual screen it takes up. So I just set it to 50%. It's fine. But if you notice, it's now a 3:2 ratio. Just like if we were to come in here and say 16:9, you know, a different aspect ratio, it crops it a little bit more. I'm going to go back to 3:2. And now what I want to do is set up maybe a couple more images. So for every image, we have to copy the wrapper, the mask, and the image itself. So I'm going to go in here and we're going to do 4 images, and I'm going to go grab these other cute little puppies and just replace some of these URLs. Okay, we're gonna go back to our page. If you notice, they're all cropped correctly now, but they're just stacked on top of each other. So we're gonna add a bit more structure to where we can view it kind of like that grid. So on the outside of all of our images, we're gonna add a container, and we're just gonna call it container. We're gonna take this closing div down here to the bottom. I'm gonna go over here to our CSS. We'll say container, and we'll just display flex. We want it to do 100% of the actual screen, and we'll give it a gap of like 3 just to give it some space. Okay, and so now that just kind of has our structure in there. And so this is what we're viewing on desktop, and now we're going to change it on mobile. So we're gonna set up a media query, media screen, and we'll say max width like 600. And all we're gonna do is we're going to set this to have a different variable aspect ratio. So I'm just gonna copy this, put it down here, and now maybe we want 1:1 when we get to mobile. I'll save it. We'll refresh, and it's not gonna show us anything because we're still on desktop, so I'm gonna inspect it, and we'll go down to 600 pixels. If you notice, we're now at 1:1. We now have a square, and we jump up to 16. We jump up to 3:2. And this way, we're taking up less landscape and less real estate when we have desktop versus mobile, but none of our images are getting cropped. They're all staying centered, and we're not having to manually adjust all of these in case they were cropping. Okay, so there you have it, a quick and simple tool to adjust the images with CSS only. I will leave the code and everything below in the description so you can just copy and paste it for easy use. And I will have a video up every week, so I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.